again, talking about apprentices, so that a lot of people don't realise how much goes in, especially apprentices themselves, to actually taking somebody on.
Yeah.
So give us a little bit of insight and breakdown to how much it actually entails. And I can't remember what reel it was on, but it said, you know, support a small business and that person can send their daughter to ballet lessons or something like that. You know, I always think if people realise that it's you guys and you're for the trade, you're a tradesman yourself, then I feel like people get behind that.
Yeah, definitely.
I started dams and carpentry because my daughter got diagnosed with diabetes. Instead of being in Milton Keynes grafting like on 4 roofs and with a crane or whatever, I could have the freedom if I needed to go to school or whatever. That's the main reason why I decided to set this up.
How has the business changed and how has the business grown, and what would you say to anybody that is listening? How would you help them if you were giving advice to them? Here we are, Trade Legends. What episode, Jack? We always do this. It doesn't matter what episode, but we're on season 8. Season 8. So 2 brand new guests. We've got Ryan and we've got Liam. Do you want to introduce yourself, Ryan?
Yeah, I'm Ryan from Dams and Carpentry.
Yeah. What's your sign? What's your age?
Um,
only joking. You almost went through it there. Just tell us a little bit about yourself then, Ryan. What is it that you do? Obviously carpentry.
Yeah, I'm a carpenter. I set up Dams and Carpentry just over a year ago.
Yeah.
I've only been on socials for about 8 months.
Yeah. What about you then, Liam? So obviously we could see Brawn workwear
Brawn
on
workwear,
you.
yeah. Representing.
Yeah.
Yeah, electrician by trade.
Yeah.
Set up Brawn 2021, so 3 years ago now, and
just on the arse end of COVID.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So who should we start with tonight then, Jack? Who should we get into to get the story? I feel like I want to get into you now because I feel like we've got you primed. So what we tend to do on the show is we get people to sort of take us back to, you know, you're leaving school, like, you know, if you want to go back in, sort of say, well, actually I was an academic at school or whatever. It's give us a sort of journey from you leaving school to sort of where you are now and how you sort of progressed into what you're doing now.
So I left school. I already knew that.
Were you academic?
No, not at all. I was a bit of a joker, really, messed around, and school was not my thing. College wasn't an option. I didn't have the attention span. Already did like woodwork and DT at school, so like kind of knew and had an inkling that it was something like I liked.
Yeah.
So yeah, I left school and found myself a job. My mum sat me in the dining room, slapped the yellow pages down. I was like, "You've got to find a job." But to be fair, I actually remember sitting there and
the thing is though, with that sort of like, I know I'm going to be probably that parent, but I think just slapping down like the yellow pages or like going sit and do your CV, like no kid at that age really knows what they want to do unless they're like a 16-year-old footballer, and then it's pretty obvious what you're going to go into. But like, you know, did you have any idea really that what you wanted to do at 16?
Yeah, to be fair, I think I did really. Like, my dad's a carpenter, but he wasn't in my life at the time then. So like, obviously I kind of knew that, and my granddad. So that's what also sort of pushed me towards wanting to do it. So I'd kind of made that decision already. Yeah. And then so my mum slapped the other pages down. I must have rung about 30 people for a job, and the answer was no with everyone.
Was this other carpenters then?
Just you know, one-man bands or little builders or whatever. And then I was like, oh, got no chance. Like no one's interested.
Well, this is the difficulty. I mean, we talk a lot about apprenticeships on here, but how do you get? Everybody always goes like, you know, like if you want a job at offices, they go, you need 1 or 2 years experience. How are you supposed to get 1 or 2 years experience if you've never worked before? Yeah. Do you know what I mean? So like, what were some of the things as well? Because I know a lot of people who are in similar situations now, and they're ringing around people. What were some of the excuses that people gave you when you were calling them about jobs, or do you ever remember anybody actually giving you a real wild excuse as to why?
No, I don't think so. It's just really like, no, not looking for anyone at the minute, or you know, whatever. Like, but
how many years ago was this?
It was just before the last recession.
Ah, okay.
So I left school. I think it was 2005.
Yeah.
So I think maybe with whatever was going on then,
it was a
people
contributing
were
factor.
bit aware, yeah. And then I rang this guy that I was a bit like, there's one left kind of thing, do you know what I mean? So I was a bit like, shall I even bother? But I did, and then that was it, boom. He came round like the few days later to meet me at home with my mum, like.
Yeah.
And that was it. It started with him.
And your mum give him that bung and said, get him out of the house. So what type of stuff then when you start, like, again, I always go back to people that are just starting out, because so many people like message me saying, it was really good watching that episode because Rye took me through the types of things that I'd be doing when you first start. Because I think a lot of people, they get a bit, once if they expect me to know how to do this or how to do that. Like, what type of stuff were you doing when you first got started then, apart from sweeping up? And
my first day, I was on a roof. I remember this. It was in Borsal Common, and I had to drill all the rafters into the ceiling joists and fit timber connectors in between and then bolt them. Yeah. And it took me 3 days to do it.
Did it?
But yeah, I'll never forget that. But yeah, but to be fair, who I did my apprenticeship with was really good. Like, there wasn't, you had to do obviously sweeping up like everyone does and tidying up, putting the tools in the van and all that. But he got me pretty hands-on straight away. Like, yeah, I'm a quick learner as well, so like being shown to me instead of taught to me like out of a book. I've always picked things up quite quickly.
Yeah. So, was it similar for you then with going into being a spark?
No, I didn't start my apprenticeship until I was 21, so it's a bit later. So, yeah, I'd had a number of jobs since school. It's at college I did sports coaching, sports science, and that's the route I wanted to go down. And
so you wanted to be a footballer?
Couldn't be a footballer, so I wanted to, coach and sports science.
Because it's sort of like part of the reason of doing this, where I get people to take us back as to what they do, because it always fascinates me how people end up. Yeah. Like, how did I end up designing torches? It's just weird, isn't it? So
so got into university from college and just decided it's not what I want to do. I fed up with education, couldn't do another 4 years of it, didn't want to get into the debt. So just had a couple of local jobs just in factories and stuff, and then it was my brother-in-law who said, we need a hand basically for a week or two. And then since then, just did electrics, qualified, got my gold card, and did that. And then through COVID, got made redundant. Yeah. And just thought, do you know what?
It's very, very similar stories, but at different times, because obviously COVID hit, financial crisis hit for you. You know, sort of.
Yeah, got made redundant through COVID, and like I had a workwear brand before Brawn, which not many people know of. It didn't really do anything big or wasn't really known on social media, but it was a start, and it taught me what to do, what not to do. And then through COVID and being in lockdown, I just thought, you know what, I'm going to start again. I loved doing it. Loved fashion. Always loved fashion growing up. Always seeing my parents like well presented, leaving the house well presented, and that stemmed down to me then. So I've always had a passion for it, and then doing it, obviously with the first brand, I learnt a lot. Just thought, do you know what, got the time now, start again. And that's where we are, 3 years down the line, and
I mean, the thing that, like I said, always fascinates me, because, you lose your job, and a lot of people will go, I need to find another job, or they just go, they sit at home, COVID, everything goes to shit. So it's a fair play for doing that. I want to actually come back and go back to sort of like what you were doing, and then sort of take us through. Now you've started the work. You've took three days to do the roof on your first job. Talk us through some of the other stuff that you're doing then, and how you sort of progressed to, because you've got a lot of experience now. In terms of how many years you've been doing it for. So
I worked for Rob for a couple of years, finished college and got my qualification. And then for a little bit, I kind of flitted between builders that I knew through him, or that he used to work for or whatever, and I picked up other bits of things then as well. Like, so I used to work for a plasterer, and then he said to me, there's no point you just labouring for me all the time, might as well. So I picked up a bit of plastering. And then I did that for a bit, and then I realised that I wanted to make my own way kind of thing a little bit. So I pushed then to go into new build housing and went working on site for myself, self-employed. And then when I first started doing that, trying to think back now, but so I worked. The good thing that I did, I think, is I worked in between lots of different chippies, so I picked up a lot of different things from a lot of different blokes, people, and a lot of blokes that did different parts of it, which was good. Which obviously taught me a hell of a lot of things, experience over the time, and like obviously over the years you then plug it all together, don't you?
Yeah, and find your own style.
Yeah, and then so I did that. I worked in between people for quite a while, and then when I got into like my early 20s, when I was about 20, 22, 23, I took on my first apprentice, and then that was it. I went off on my own then, and then from then I worked through subcontractors on site, and then I took on another apprentice, and then eventually there was 4 of us. Yeah. So I'd have 3 lads. Yeah. One that I'd had for say 2 years, one that I'd had for a year, and then one that was like green out of school.
Again, talking about apprentices, so that a lot of people don't realise how much goes in, especially apprentices themselves, to actually taking somebody on.
Yeah.
So give us a little bit of insight and breakdown to how much it actually entails and how much it costs you as a business to actually take somebody on, train them, give them your time. Because I know people go, oh, well, there's government incentives or whatever.
Yeah, it's peanuts, really.
But people don't actually realise, especially you've got to kit them out with tools, or they've got to go and do another job somewhere when they've got a bit more experience and you've got to get them a van or whatever else. Like, give us a sort of rundown on that sort of side of things for you. Because to have 3 or 4 guys, to even have somebody else that works alongside you, I don't think people realise that jump from I've got enough work for me to shit, I've got to have enough work for 2, 3, 4 people, and the stress that comes with that. So I know there's a lot of people that do watch this and go, yeah, I'm gonna go set the world on fire, be like Charlie Mullins, and I'm gonna have like 300 people working for me, which I like that ambition, but it's also good to give people like a real world experience of what that entails.
Yeah, so
hopefully you haven't got an apprentice now. He's like, he never says that to me.
I think they don't like. It's hard for them to. It will cost you money for the first 4 months, I'd say, really, because it will take that sort of time before a lot of people start picking up enough of the basics to be able to say, can you go and do that? And
without having to watch them do the work.
Yeah. Or like explain.
Because that impacts on your business, because you're probably looking at jobs taking twice as long, or another 1.5 times as long as what it normally would to do, and times money when you,
especially when you're on site and on a price as well.
Yeah,
it's difficult because you've still got in the back of your head, you're constantly thinking, I've got to pay these first. I've got to earn my money. Yeah, I've got to go at it, but I've also got to try and give this kid time to teach him and talk him through.
Yeah. You know, if you invest the time now, it pays you back later down the line. But it's very difficult when you walk in that, like you say, you've got priced work, or you're competing for work, and it's highly competitive in the area that you are, because you know that some one-man band's gone, oh yeah, whatever price he'll do, I'll do it $2,000 cheaper, or whatever it is. So, I mean, what else does it entail? Do you get any government incentives to take anybody on, or?
I mean, I'm not. It's been a little while now since
you've done it.
Yeah, a good few years now, really. But you used to get a bit to help out, which was useful. Like the thing I found it helped me with is like, so I'd keep it, and because you got to give them holiday pay, so it will pay for help towards like things like that. And, and obviously it gives you a little bit back to the time that you're putting in, say, that first 4-month period. Yeah.
I mean, would you say for anybody umming and ahhing then about taking on an apprentice, would you encourage them to do it if they can?
Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
Because I feel like the one thing that's happening at the moment is social media is great. It's probably been one of the best things in terms of learning from other people.
Yeah.
However, I feel like the people that have already learnt and are through, and this sort of generation that we've got, because we've got the skills shortage that's sort of on the horizon. There's not that many people now that actually want to have an apprentice. I felt like maybe early 90s, early 2000s, whenever I used to speak to anybody, they were, oh, this is an apprentice, or I've got an apprenticeship. Don't hear so much about it anymore.
I think it's because it's not pushed enough, I don't think, at schools. And what you can earn as a tradesman. I don't think people are oblivious to it, aren't they, really? And a lot of people are naive as well. But you just don't realise that you spend, I've spent 20 years of my life to master a craft.
Yeah.
Like,
you can go the thing with the trade as well, you can go anywhere in the world. Obviously, slightly different regulations if you went to Australia to do, be an electrician. But it's not going to take you that long to figure it out, because it's, electricity is electricity wherever you are in the world. But the same with, like, if you're doing like carpentry or woodwork or whatever it is, you can go and work anywhere.
Yeah, wood.
Yeah, but I mean, you might have the language barrier, but physically you can take your job in, and there's not many jobs that you can go and do it anywhere in the world.
No.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And it opens, look, in saying that as well, that's another thing that for kids to get into it, because it opens other big opportunities, and you can go and work in America, Australia, change.
I just wish I'd done that 20 years ago. I'm jealous. Saw a picture actually earlier. There's a girl that my wife knows, and she put winter on this Instagram story, and the sun was out. She's playing beach volleyball. I was like, oh, fuck off. You look out the window here and you're like, it's basically winter anyway.
Yeah.
So you're like, ladies and gents, just a quick one to say a huge thank you to our new headline sponsor, CT1, the best sealants on the market, voted for by the British public. Not only that, it's made in Britain as well. So go and support a product and a brand that is made in the UK. But I just want to say to you, they've got a brand new product out, which is the BT1. It's a combination sealant and adhesive like the popular CT1, but it's perfect for keeping a hygienic environment. And it's designed to completely stop the growth of bacteria, microbes, and fungus. And not only that, this stuff is strong. Now, it's going to be available at Travis Perkins, Wickes, Jewson's, and pretty much everywhere else, so there's no excuse not to go and give it a go. So we're really happy to be partnering with CT1. So you've hired you've got 4 people within the team now. I mean, what difference did you notice then as well from going Han Solo to having 4 people that you've got to look after, organise, get ready, get all the materials for, quote jobs, make sure everything's in line? Like, how do you handle that extra stress that comes with, or headache that comes with that? It
is hard, to be fair. Like, mentally, like, your brain's going 100 miles an hour. I used to lie in bed every night. Like, even, I don't know if this sounds weird, but even programming in my head what's got to be done by what time and who should be doing what, and it's tough. Like,
because I think all trades struggle with that sort of side of things, paperwork and organisation, because theoretically you're on the job all day.
Yeah.
So how do you deal with that stress then, and how do you advise anybody to sort of?
I don't know. You've got to give yourself that time to be away from it as well, haven't you? Which is important. Like, if you've got a hobby or going to the gym or whatever, or you need to have something just to release to
food.
Yeah,
that's my thing at the moment, I'd say.
Yeah, but you've got to have something, and it's like the balance of not overdoing it as well. Like, I went through a few years where, like, it was 100 miles an hour. Be at work from 6:15 in the morning, stay till whatever time on the night, 7 days a week. And
is that why you guys? Because I know obviously, like, mental health's a big thing within trades. Do you think that is a culmination then for? Because if you think about it, you're up early. It's stressful when you're there, especially like materials don't turn up or whatever happens. Something always goes wrong every day. Like you fit a kitchen and you're missing a part for it or whatever it is, and then you tend to, because you're so busy all the day, you don't tend to eat very well. Then you go home, you don't tend to sleep very well because you're counting cabinets in your head or what everyone needs to be doing. I mean, do you think that's like maybe a contributor for why there is like high sort of mental health issues within trades and stuff like that? Or
yeah, I think so. I mean, I from doing the site stuff before I set up dams and carpentry, like I got bad anxiety because I was constantly anxious of everything. Like, and your head's 100 mile an hour, like lying up in bed planning everything, and it is tough.
So what would you say is the main difference between site work and then the stuff that you do now? Is it just purely the scale of things, or is it?
Well, I mean, I thought you'd have the life of Riley, to be honest, like, and it'd be easier. You've got freedom and all the rest of it. But I probably work more now than I did then, to be honest. Because running a business is different, yeah. But I'm a lot more laid back now than I was then. But I think
that comes with age, though. I think.
Yeah, and the kids, and when I was on site, I mean, whoever you're working for, you're self-employed, but you're subbing to someone. But the more you do, the more they want. So it's, I mean, the output I did on site was ridiculous. Like, it was great earning like ridiculous money, like, but
if you
the time putting in, and the planning and panicking and worry and everything else that came with it, it was tough, like.
Yeah. Over to you then. One thing I did want to ask you when I sort of cut you off because I wanted to go back over to you was, how come you didn't decide to go back and carry on being a spark? I
did for a while.
Yeah.
I still have a day job now, actually.
Okay.
So still doing my electrics daily. I'm employed for a company. Not just because I have a family now with children. So, but yeah, I still got a day job at the minute.
Do you think that helps you with what you do?
Definitely with having a family and kids. I think if I didn't, then the risk would be lower. Yeah. So I'd go all in.
Yeah. But you also think like being a spark helps when you're doing
definitely,
clothing for
yeah, 100%.
Because you still know what people want.
I'm basically building it for myself from what I experienced on site and what I wanted to wear and what I enjoyed wearing out of work. I wanted to bring to the site, and like I said before, appearance is massive for me, and even just being comfortable. Like, you work for a company, you get given fruit of the loom clothing, and you wash it once, and it's ill fitting. And
I mean, the other thing as well. This is why I actually really like social media. Is I feel like okay, a lot of people feel like they've got to keep up with the Joneses.
Yeah.
But it's made people smarten up. If that makes any sense. So, like back in the day, you'd see a painter and he'd just go in with his old skanky joggers on that he's like, he's run around the parking and they were just splattered with like, but people now, it's a uniform, it's branded, it's everything looks a lot more.
And I think it goes a long way. Like if Ryan was to turn up to a job quoting, scruffy as anything, compared to turning up looking good, like his appearance is
I think maybe
on.
that's why trades are starting to not be so frowned upon, because actually it's not the white van man, where he's leaning out the window going, all right, darling. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Although most of us love to do that. But I feel like that sort of moniker now is like slowly disappearing. I always feel like, branding, like you say, and sort of the way that you present yourself is half of the battle.
Massive, massively.
So I always think, like presentation's massive. I mean, so you decide you want to do the workwear thing again. Where did the name Brawn come from?
Messed around with a lot of names. Liked some, didn't like some. Researched.
What were some of the other clangers? What was the worst one that you cringe at now when you look back?
Well, the previous brand was called Stonebridge, which isn't a bad name. But it didn't
could have been like the Stone Island of workwear,
got the badge in.
Could have.
But
Stonebridge wasn't.
It's not long. Bad, but it didn't mean anything.
That's a bit better because it's shorter, I think.
Yeah, well, Brawn means strength in contrast to intelligence, so it's got a bit of a meaning and works well with the construction industry. And trialled a lot of products, tested a lot of products. I wasn't happy with a lot of products. It's not like an overnight. Everyone sees people on social media and thinks. You're an overnight success.
Clothing is a pain in the arse.
It's hard. It's hard work. Building a brand, it's going to be at least 10 years, isn't it? yeah, it's hard work.
Unless you're Gymshark and it goes like a rocket, which is like a 1 in a gazillion.
But even they had to put the work in, didn't they? And obviously just right timing and stuff. But yeah, I just want to bring a twist to workwear and bring fashion into the constructing industry, really. But it's more for me about building a community and a lifestyle. And I've got a couple of things, can't really say too much at the minute, but set up in the background and events that we're going to do and bring people together. And with the new construction club that Ryan's got on, it's all a proportion of the profits will be donated to the Lighthouse charity. And just trying to build a community around that.
I think stuff like that as well. If anybody is listening and watching, there are some brands that don't really do anything or give anything back.
No.
And it's always better to be one of those people where you're trying to improve what you're earning off, if that makes any sense. There's no point taking loads of profit and then not giving anything back to people.
And building the communities, like that's my main drive, really. That's what I want.
So give people a little bit of insight. Obviously, you don't have to talk figures or anything like that, but sort of how has the business changed and how has the business grown, and what would you say to anybody that is listening or watching that's potentially a spark?
Yeah.
How would you help them if you were giving advice to them?
Keep the day job going as long as possible to fund what you're trying to start.
Yeah.
And just, you've got to love what you're doing and you've got to have passion for it. But the most important thing, you just got to show up every day, put the work in, work hard, and you'll start to see results.
Yeah.
And then, it just spirals from there. Like I'd never put myself on social media, never put a face to the Brawn. And then Installer Show came up and I thought, I'm going to do this, give people the chance to...
So my one bit of advice for anybody is, so this business suddenly turbocharged when I decided either my sister or I needed to put our face with the brand. And what ended up happening was the sis is like, if anyone's got a picture of her, let me know, because she is like a spy. You just don't see anything.
No.
And she's always like that, covers her face, don't get me in a picture. And I actually looked at it and thought, well, how is anybody supposed to understand what we stand for as a brand without me getting on videos and talking about products or putting myself out there, which when you first start doing, you're like, especially with my, I'm all right, am you cringe at yourself. And I look back at some of the stuff and I think, but on the flip side, if I hadn't done that,
you wouldn't be where you are.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I've like,
being here is like way out of my comfort zone. First podcast, Installer Show, first show. But
once you've done them, it's...
Yeah, the results from the Installer Show, like, forget the sales, like, the networking side of that was amazing. Meeting people I've been speaking to for years on social media, putting a face to the brand.
So who's involved with the business? Is it purely just yourself? Or?
No, it's me and my brother-in-law.
Yeah.
So it's just me and him. We run the business.
And this is again why I always say put yourself out there, because I would rather support, if I'm looking to buy something... I can't remember what reel it was on, but it said, support a small business and that person can send their daughter to ballet lessons or something like that, rather than supporting like some big Snickers or something like that. Yeah. I always think if people realise that it's you guys and you're for the trade, you're a tradesman yourself, then I feel like people get behind that.
Yeah, definitely.
So, but I mean, you've obviously bought the stuff and you wear it. I mean, what sort of attracts you to working with Liam and helping Liam out and doing the stuff that you do? What is like, what is it about the clothing or the brand, or is it the relationship you've got with Liam that you sort of back it?
Yeah, he's a nice guy.
But that's what you want, though, isn't it? You want people buy from.
It's not. I don't know. He's just a top bloke, and Dave, his partner, which is his brother-in-law, he's a lovely guy as well.
We've been speaking for a while, haven't we?
Yeah, the clothes are great. Like they're good in the wash. They don't shrink. They don't like lose colour.
They don't come out like a beach.
Yeah, they don't fade and they're comfy. They're fashionable. Like they're casual. You'd be happy to go to the pub in them.
Yeah. And that's what I wanted to bring to the industry, really. Like, it's fashionable. It's comfy. You can wear it out at work if you want to. A lot of people do, but also, it's durable and you can wear it to work. And it's all about, again, the lifestyle, the community. You see someone with it on, like you have a chat. And
I mean, what's it like then as well? Because I always never really ask myself this question. When you see people wearing it
Oh,
that you haven't spoken to, and like when you, and again, anybody listening or watching, like when you put like a website up and you put something on there and you think, will anyone buy it? And you get that first order. Then it pings up. You get a first order, and then you get another one, and you think, you know, like you're just amazed. Like I always take my hat off to anybody that puts their head above the parapet and actually goes for it, because A, it's daunting to get to that point, but B, when you press the button to go live on a website and you think, it's probably like when you go self-employed and you think, is anyone going to ring my number?
Yeah.
Hello. You know, and you think it's like, especially when you like direct to consumer, you're thinking, well, I've got this website, and I've got this stock. I really need to sell it. Like, how do I get somebody's attention? That's why I say, like, the thing that you've done where you're meeting with people that are in the trade and they're supporting your brand is it just sort of snowballs from there.
Social media is great to showcase it, but in-person events is the networking side of it is so good. You get to feel it as well, especially if it's only online. Like people can see it on social media, on the website, and it looks good, but they don't know what it feels like or the quality of it, and that's why the show was so good. And
are you wasting time? I think that some of you probably are, and I have a solution for you. Nobody wants to do any type of admin. Now, I have a solution for you, and it is called Tradify. It's a fully automated job scheduling, invoicing, and quoting all in one place. Now, that software is going to save you 12 hours a week, and all by using a simple software solution. Now, you can try it for 2 weeks, absolutely free, no cards needed, and you'll even get support in person from Tradify themselves. Now, when you're done, you can always come back to me and thank me, but just enjoy the extra 12 hours that you're going to gain from just using the software. Yeah, I mean, future plans then for both of you? Are you looking to take more people on? What's your sort of thing for the future, or you just like, actually just no more stress?
Yeah, do you know, I'm quite happy how I am at the minute, and it's nice not having to babysit anyone. I would like to take someone on in the long run, but I can't see it being in at least the next 2 years, really. Because I'm not established yet. Like, I've done my first year trading. So I haven't even got my business where I want it to be yet. Yeah. So I want to get it to there first, and then so.
Okay. What about you?
Well, we're only 3 years in, so in the grand scheme of things, we're still young. We're an early brand, so much more to come, so much more to learn, so much more to do. So,
I mean, what's another brand then outside of sort of like your sphere? It doesn't like that sort of. You look at and it influences you and you think, I like that sort of type of product. Like I love like stuff like Ferrari, and how did somebody just having a red car make people pay like crazy money for a car and stuff like that?
Rolls-Royce is a great brand, British brand, but if you're talking the same sort of industry, obviously Gymshark, local, like absolutely incredible, and also represent two lads from Bolton Brothers, just taking it to the next level. Luckily, the feedback I've had with customer service so far has been spot on, and hopefully, I will.
Don't ever lose that as you grow.
No, never.
That's one thing in here that we always, Jack's like,
yeah.
He's right.
Mastered it.
What about you then, Jack? Have you got, Jack's always good for a Jack in the box question, aren't you?
Why did you start your social media?
I started dams and carpentry because my daughter got diagnosed with diabetes, so I wanted to be, instead of being in Milton Keynes grafting like on 4 roofs and with a crane or whatever, I could have the freedom if I needed to go to school or whatever. Yeah. That's the main reason why I decided to set this up. And then I set social media up then, obviously as a portfolio and for the marketing side of it, to showcase.
Who pushed? Did anyone push you? Because I always find it's always the wives that, or the girlfriends that go, why don't you post on TikTok?
No, well.
And you go, okay, all it is kids dancing on TikTok. And then you end up posting on there and it suddenly just da-da-da-da-da-da.
Yeah. Now, my missus isn't very social media-y, to be fair. But I was aware of it, and I just realised you could see that how the times had changed, and that being on social media is pretty key, really.
But that's like a turbocharged Yellow Pages, isn't
it? Yeah.
Because it's sort of, not only can you find the
It
company.
is great to showcase
but
work,
you can
isn't it?
see all of the because the thing that I find as a non-trade is you like say you're renovating your house, and you go, I'll have a new kitchen, and you're sitting there on Pinterest trying to get ideas, and the thing is, you click on somebody, you go, he's just done one exactly the same as what I want, and then you're like, I'll go with him or I'll go with her because you think they're going to be able to do exactly what I want. But you can see how they work during the day when it's on stories. You can see the before and after, and you get to sort of semi-know somebody before you even let them loose in your house, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good for that, isn't it?
That's why I did it to start with, to be fair. And the amount of customers I've also had that have said they've gone with me because they've seen.
Yeah. It's the community as well in the construction industry, isn't it? You've met so many people from social media, haven't you?
And not people that I speak to every day now more than friends I grew up with.
Yeah.
I've made some great mates through Instagram and all that. Like,
it is very odd how it snowballed into that.
Yeah.
But I'm exactly like I talk to people obviously for this business because we're global from all over the world, and then we had Bruno, who's Nample on social media, like a HVAC engineer, and he came over to install her, and I've been talking to Bruno for like 5-6 years, and I always seem to miss him at a show. But even just to catch up with him, because I chat to him all the time, it was like, you know, like you say, it's great to just catch up with people that.
Yeah, that's what we got from the show. Like, spoke to so many people on social media, people that supported us, and it's just great to actually speak to them in person.
You get to thank them in person, right?
Yeah.
And they get to put a face
to the brand, and if I'm not...
How much time does it take? Because these are... I ask, like, really simple but obscure sort of questions to you about building a business, because, again, I don't think people realise, like same with you when you go out self-employed, just how much time physically and mentally you spend.
It'd be a whole lot easier if you were still at home, 17, 18, not paying any rent, had all the time in the world, but it's literally...
Gymshark, you made it easy, Ben. Might be worth $1 billion, but God, you had it easy, mate. On your Pizza Hut
it's literally,
scooter.
Like, work your day job, come home, tea, sit down, play with the kids for a bit, put them to bed, and then it's literally on the brand until the early hours of the morning, every night.
What does that entail? Is that like new product designs, or is that spending time on social media and contacting people? Or?
Yeah, just everything, trying to get social posts ready for the next day, preparing for that, speaking to manufacturers, speaking to people that you need to reply to who's come to you. Just it's non-stop, relentless.
My wife, when our sort of social blew up, turned around and called herself an Instagram widow, because I literally, from the minute I opened my eyes, I'd obviously speak to our factories in China, and then I'd be on social media. Like I'm probably down to about 8 hours screen time a day, but the peak of it is probably 15, 16 hours.
And I hate ignoring people. Like if someone messages me, if someone, I need to message back and quickly. Even if it like...
Babe, kiss me. Give me 10 seconds.
It's all about
I think my missus would agree with you, to be fair.
But it's difficult to not do it, especially when you're a brand or you've got a customer that's coming through to you. Like I always blame Amazon for this, because Amazon's made it where you can click something, one click, order it, and it's there.
You wake up and it's there,
And it's sort of like, you know, everybody expects that from everybody now. They probably don't, but I feel like if I don't do that, one of my competitors is doing that, and I have to do it now. I always think you have to have those ambitions, and you have to sort of go, I want to be there, and don't ever let anybody tell you that you can't. Not everybody's going to be a Ben. Do you know what I mean? I think he had the right thing, right time. He brought in, I think it was Steve, and who was the other guy?
Steve Cook and Christian Guzman.
No, it was Steve, like the management team that he brought in. It was Stephen Paul, I think he brought in.
Paul Richardson,
and those two guys obviously took what was probably a bit like Peter Pan in Neverland, with all those young guys running the business, and probably streamline that business. And now, obviously, it's
fair play to him to acknowledging that he needs to bring someone in, because
that must have been hard.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Stepping
Especially,
down.
especially when you've got ego when you're younger.
Yeah.
No, I'm making loads of money. And you're just like, having to give the reins over to somebody. But that, I think, is like, what sets people apart as well. But you've got to have those ambitions, so don't ever stop doing that. So, okay, so round about this time, we do what's called it's a bit like a Jerry Springer final thought. So if you want to shamelessly plug yourself, you can, and Jack can stick all your social media handles in the bloody blue bar. Or what would be really nice is if anybody is listening or watching to this, maybe a cheeky little discount code for some people.
We'll get one set up with Trade Legends.
I like that. And then, so give us a bit of advice or something that you want to pass on to people, or something that you want to say, like running your business, like don't be afraid to start it, whatever it is. Who wants to step up to the plate first?
You want to go, or?
You go first.
I
don't know.
Just follow your passion, show up every day, and you'll start to see results. Just put the work in and do what you love.
I think people, especially, so the flip side on social media is everybody sees, like, I don't know, somebody living in Dubai with Habibi, splashing the cash and rolling with Lambos and stuff like that, and just presumes that stuff's going to happen overnight. But
It's not going to happen overnight.
Try and say to people, Rome wasn't built in a day, just a few things every day, and then eventually that turns into that, and so on.
That's the thing, isn't it? Everyone sees the success, but it's going to be 10 years. It's going to be it. That's what I like about Represent as well. It's behind the brand, and it shows you how they're building it.
There's loads of great brands like that. There's like Castor, Represent, Able, which are down the road, Gymshark, Manière d'Ivoire.
All local lads.
All absolutely smashed it. Even Umar Kamani with Pretty Little Thing and stuff like that. You think, amazing. Absolutely amazing.
Definitely.
What
about you, Ryan?
Well, hopefully we'll be there modelling for him with these new short tops that we do for trades like that.
I've been asked a few times, to be fair, by people on Instagram, and I think if you want to do it, just do it, because and people say like, oh, you worry about work and like what you've got, you're always going to worry. That's one thing I've learned. That'll never go away. Like now, instead of me worrying about what I'm doing next week, it's what you're doing in 6 months' time or 2 months' time or whatever. Like, but that'll never change. Yeah. And if you want to do it, you should just do it. Yeah. The one thing I would say though is if someone does want to do it, you'd be better off building, say, foreigners at the weekend. Yeah. And then when that gets a bit more, and it's Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday.
Testing the water.
Yeah. And then when you've got that a lot, then push it to the week, and that's then have your weekends back.
What you're doing with the brand, isn't it? So you keep the job.
I could do with dropping a day or two, to be honest, since the show and stuff. But like I said, just risk again, and
bigger risk, bigger rewards.
That's true. That's true.
Just do it.
You read a quote book before this?
Motivational speaker over here. You'd be charging things. But no, thank you very much for coming on.
Thanks for having us on.
Appreciate it. Hopefully, 10 years we'll be like, closing billionaire boys. You know what I mean?
Hopefully.
So keep up the good work. Well done as well.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Trying to keep 3-4 people fed and mortgage payments and all the rest of it, because that's difficult. Obviously, in a like I go home and I sit there and I think, I've got all these
people,
that rely on you. Stressful.
Heavy. Yeah.